Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about big tech and how these big tech leaders in Silicon Valley, California are having a very strong control of our speech. And they're using it very effectively this year. More specifically, they're trying to use their control of these big platforms as a way to direct people during this election season. We're, of course, having a presidential election this year in November. Just a few months from now, we'll be voting. And the big elitist liberals in California running these big tech platforms, they have no qualms with using their power to try to make people vote for Democrats and try to make Trump look bad and to censor him and other conservatives. They want to shadow ban us. They don't let your posts get shared. They don't send notifications to your followers. All kinds of stuff like that has been happening for a good long while now. But again, it's heating up and getting even worse this year for the election. That's what brings us to today's story. Today, we're talking about Facebook in particular and their leader, Mark Zuckerberg, who has a pretty nefarious track record of censoring people and being biased in politics. And it's coming to shine in this story where he's talking about flagging so-called misinformation about a certain topic. And he even specifically said he'll flag the president if he has to. Now, this is a bold claim. This is a strong sort of attack on freedom of speech. And also, it's just like showing how power hungry these guys are, how they want to flag stuff so much and take away information and not share it and not let people decide for themselves. They want to kind of be these curators for their websites instead of just being like an open message board like how it used to be. So we're going to talk about this story more soon, get into the details, why Zuckerberg's wrong, why these technocrats, as they call them, are sort of taking over our country. We're going to get to all that soon, but first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. After 20 years old, your body will naturally decrease its collagen production by 12% each passing decade. This decrease in collagen is a leading reason to why skin appears thinner and more wrinkled as we age. And the way to keep our skin looking healthy and youthful is by consuming 5 different types of collagen, which we're going to offer to you today from our website at healthwithnobs.com. Provided by BioTrust, our offer today is a very high quality protein source that you can take daily just by adding some water. As an added bonus, ageless multi-collagen is also non-GMO, and there's 0 artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, sweeteners, gluten, or antibiotics. And if you order today, you can get your own bag of ageless multi-collagen for 51% off, plus free shipping. So make sure you check out our link below at healthwithnobs.com. So make sure you check it out and get in on this healthy offer, and your body will be thankful, and surely you won't regret it. Thanks for your time today, and now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's turn to the article. It says right here from CBS News, it says, Mark Zuckerberg flagging misinformation about mail-in voting will apply to the president. There's a picture of Zuckerberg there with his very interesting haircut, very good hairline that he's got there, and he's talking about the mail-in voting situation. This, of course, is a new meme, a new thing that the Democrats are pushing pretty late in the game. They want to use this sort of pandemic situation going on right now, people getting sick, this virus spreading, and they're basically spinning that and making it look worse. They're trying to scare people with the masks and the lockdowns and stuff. And then the next step in their play is to get people to mail in vote. They want everyone to mail in vote in every state, even if it's not that affected by this virus. Remember, every state's different. We're a big, vast country with lots of varying levels of this problem everywhere. But regardless, Democrats are pushing for a big upheaval in our voting process. They want to change it from the ground up and totally reverse everything we've done for over 200 years. We've voted at polling stations since the beginning of this country. So to go into a whole mail-in thing is really extreme, and it's pretty dramatic. I don't know why they try to downplay it. I mean, I do know why. They downplay it because they don't want it to seem like a big deal when it really is. It changes everything, and it's also ripe for corruption. That's the real problem here, actually, in your face. Like, mail-in voting is not verifiable. It's not safe. You have to trust the mail companies and the people delivering the mail. You have to trust the people are actually the ones voting. I mean, if you're not at the polling station with an ID, preferably, I know that's a whole other issue. Voter ID laws are another thing that Democrats protest. And it just goes down the line of all these things that they're against. They're against ways that will secure voting because they know if there's more opportunity opportunities to cheat, they're going to be able to take advantage of that. So that's another part of the story. That's really besides the point right now. Let's get more into the Facebook part of this, and then we'll talk again. Facebook is coming out with a new set of steps to help safeguard the November election amid reports of foreign interference and false claims about mail-in voting from President Trump and his allies. The social media giant says it will, among other things, remove posts with clear misinformation about the pandemic and voting, attaching a link to authoritative information on both instead. Facebook will also not be accepting new political ads the week before the election, and through a partnership with Reuters, will add a label directing users to official election results in the event that a candidate tries to declare victory before final results are in. Now, these are some pretty bold claims, some pretty harsh steps for Facebook. And I just want to ask right out the gate, like, who do they think they are? Like, why do they think they're the arbiters of what's proper information, of what's the truth and facts? I mean, this just is really questionable to me. I know people have a right to question the president too, but when a huge platform like this says to, fact check the president, as they call it. They always say they're fact checking conservatives, but really that means they're manipulating our information. They don't want certain things to come out. They don't want certain truths to get exposed. And that's what is part of this whole situation. Like I said, it goes from the virus. They're using the virus to scare people. Then it goes to voting. Then people are scared. Now they want to vote from home. And it's a whole kind of gambit here. It's like a big con if you really put it all together. And that's not really being that tinfoil hatty. I know some people say that could sound a little conspiracy theoristy, but I'm just putting out the facts. I'm just laying out the plan and the way they've been doing it. And it's pretty obvious. It's pretty blatant. And yeah, back to the arbiter of truth. I mean, I don't get why Facebook thinks they're smarter than the president. Like, I don't get why everyone can't just put their ideas out there and let the people decide. Like, they feel like they have to flag things. And it shows that they're really on the weaker side of these arguments because they can't win on the battlefield, on the battleground of ideas. They have to take away their opponent's voices. That's how they actually have to win. That's really what's going on here. And even if it's just a flag or like a kind of note underneath the president's post or something like that, under his campaign post, it's undermining him, and it's showing that these Democrats, they can't go head to head. That's why things like Biden's debates are in question. Biden doesn't want to face the president directly. He wants to take away the debates so that people can't see him perform well. And it's similar to what's going on with Facebook. They want to take away conservative points, viewpoints, posts by the president, other conservatives on the platform. And this isn't exclusive to Facebook either. And that's why I put up the question at the title of this video. I haven't got to say it yet, but it really makes you think, like, who's more powerful? Is the president as powerful as someone like Mark Zuckerberg? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg controls Facebook. There's billions of people on that website across the world. And he clearly is showing that he's not a real hands-off kind of leader. He's not really like letting the platform do their own thing. He's very much manipulating it. He's trying to shape the narrative and, taking away people's platforms and adding up to other ones. He promotes the liberal ones. And you got to ask yourself, like, who is more powerful? If he can censor the president on one of the biggest platforms in the country that he is based, he's an American, the country is American, and they can censor the American president. It's like, who's more powerful now? I mean, in some ways, certainly Zuckerberg has more authority. He owns the company and the biggest platform. And since we won't step up and get these freedom of speech rights that we should have here, like, I really believe our freedom of speech should be protected on Facebook and Twitter and other places. Like, I think we have a right to speak. And unless we get that, unless we go a little harder on these guys, it's just going to keep happening like this. I think it's important that we start preparing people now. Founder Mark Zuckerberg told CBS This Morning co-host Gayle King, there's nothing illegitimate about taking a few extra days or even weeks in order to make sure that all the votes get counted. In fact, it would be illegitimate if we didn't make sure that all the valid votes were counted. So this is what they call priming the public. This is actually another propaganda tactic. I've seen this multiple times before. I think the liberals sent out talking points and they want to really prepare people to wait a long time for the election results. Now, typically we know, like, election night or maybe the next day, that at the latest. I mean, last year, I remember 2016 was called by the end of the night. I specifically remember staying up, watching it. I saw a few streams that were talking talking about it. It was very exciting, very interesting. And yeah, we knew by the end of the night. And that usually happens with most typical elections. There are some exceptions. I remember specifically when I was a kid, the 2000 election was very, very dramatic and contested. And that was because Florida was so close. That was the last state to have the results come in. And since it was so close, they had to do a recount, and there was dramatics and lawyers involved. And that's definitely possible to happen again. I mean, that happened before, but typically it doesn't. Not average. That's a very, very rare instance. And I think that's why we see prominent Democrats like Zuckerberg and other people saying, let's get ready for a long battle and a count, because they want to cheat it. They want to say, hey, don't accept the results on election night or even the next day. This could take a couple weeks. And that's because they want to draw it out as long as they can, because they know they're going to lose. That's the basic thing. They don't want to lose. They don't want to accept it. So they don't want Biden to cave in or concede, as they call it. And yeah, they're just priming us. That's why they call it priming. They put the idea out there early on so that people are ready for it and not surprised and shocked. And I think that's a good example of that. Zuckerberg and his wife, Dr. Priscilla Chan, are also donating $300 million in a bid to help strengthen election security. In the past, Facebook has been accused of fostering and even bolstering far-right rhetoric and allowing disinformation from foreign entities to be disseminated on the platform. The thing that I'm very sensitive about is having us be the ultimate decider of what is right and wrong and true and false in the world, Zuckerberg told King. Now, this is him just kind of denying what we accused him of. I was saying he's basically this sort of arbiter of what's right and wrong. He's taking this sort of role as the judge and jury on the truth, and he's trying to deny that's what he's doing, but that's exactly what he's doing, and we can all see it. And that's why it's so messed up, because why would we trust someone like Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg is this shady, very, very sketchball kind of business guy who stole the website from his friend, and he was supposed to build it for these guys. Like, have you guys seen Social Network? What is it called? The Social Network? Is that what the movie's called? Yeah, The Social Network. Yeah. Have you guys seen The Social Network? This guy is not have a good story with him. This movie, it shows how big of a jerk Mark Zuckerberg was when he started Facebook and basically stole it from his friends and some group that he was supposed to build it for. And I know it's a drama. I know it wasn't like based on everything true 100%, but it's a good account. And I think it's worth noting, especially considering where Zuckerberg is now. Now he's like some kind of international figure. He like meets with the Obamas and all these Democrats, and he hates the conservatives, and he's buddying up with this CBS News channel too, and they're very, very biased as well. So it's a bad sign, and that's why I raised the question again for the end of this video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on this question and everything we've talked about, but specifically tell me, do you think technocrats like Mark Zuckerberg and other people that run social media platforms like Jack at Twitter, do you think that they're more powerful than the president? I mean, I think it's true, definitely in some ways, maybe not completely. It's kind of a back and forth there, give and take, but tell me what you think. Comment below. Also hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.